Guys, you're welcome once again today to my channel, and I'm excited to have you here. So we're going to continue our SQL series and learning another interesting topic today. So I'm very excited about this because you're going to get something valuable by the end of this video. So stick around as we dive in now. Let's go. So today we are going to be looking at data types. So we need to understand data types, different data types, as a data analyst or as a data professional. So when we talk about data types, this has to do with the different categories whereby our data can be stored, either as a numeric, as a character, as a date, as time, or what have you. So this knowledge is very essential, and because it helps us to maintain accuracy, data integrity. With the right data type being selected in our database design, our data will be accurate. Let's say you want to creating a database and there's a column called date of admission, date, last login, or what have you. Such column are supposed to contain values. So it means that any other values that may subsequently want to be entered into that column must be date, otherwise it will not accept it. So that's why we said it helps us to maintain data integrity and also validation. You're going to see as we go on in this particular video how we're going to do some alteration, trying to enter another data type against the already registered data type in the database, and you're going to see this data integrity and validation in practice. Also, another reason why it's very important is because of storage optimization. Let's say you have a ceremony and 5 people are to attend that ceremony. That means all your provisions preparation will be for 5 people, right? So you're not going to prepare maybe 25 servings in the place of 5. Doing that will make your servings or your provisions redundant, and that will not be efficient. So now coming back to the data types, knowing the data types and their capacity helps us choose the right data type. Okay, in this column the names cannot be more than 5 characters. So with that you can select the right data type with that kind of capacity, so that you will be able to minimize space and at the same time to reduce redundancy as much as possible. So you're going to see this as we continue in the practical aspect. Now, talking about the query performance, choosing the right data types helps us to speed up our query execution. So if your space are properly optimized, there's no redundant space, definitely your query is going to run faster. Okay, so the data types, they have different categories, but they are majorly numerics, characters, dates, and other ones. Okay, so let's look at the numerics. So the numerics, they can either be exact numerics or approximate numerics. So these numerics, the most common part is the whole numbers, which are also regarded to as integers. So they are the values that are whole number from the word whole. That is, there's no decimal, no fractional part. So it could be a negative whole number or a positive whole number, but it's just whole number. And when we say exact numerics, they are the one that they give an exact representation of the value that you want to enter. For instance, okay, 10, that's the maximum number of characters, 5, and so forth. Unlike the approximate numerics only give something close to not exact, and that's why approximate numerics, they are not mostly used, because they are not efficient in terms of storage and performance. So let's look at the different types of integers. We have the big integer, which is 8 bytes, is the biggest type of integer. That is what that can accommodate big figures. Talking of billions, integer is not as big as big integer, but can also take in millions. The small integer is next to integer. It doesn't take as much as integer. It can take numbers in their thousands, even up to I think 100,000. And why tiny integer is the least of them. Tiny integer only takes a few numbers. About the decimals, by selecting your data type, you also need to specify your precision and your scale. Now, what is your precision? Your precision is the total number of figures that you are specifying as the maximum figure that column can accept as a value at a point in time. Now, looking at what I have on my screen here, the precision here will be the total count of all the numbers, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my precision here will be 8. Why the scale is the number of the fractional parts you have after your whole number, and in this case they are just 2, 7 and 8. So my scale here will be 7 and 8. So you need to think about the precision as well as your scale when you are dealing with data values that can either be whole number or decimal. It's always advisable don't go beyond 2 scales so as to maintain consistency. So the approximate numerics, they are barely used. These are, we've treated the ones that are commonly used. We're not going to talk about the date and time. So the date and time, just like you know, they are the data type, has to do with date, time. Then the date, that will be year, month, day. So it's going to be year, YYMMDD. So now for the time is going to be hours, minutes, and seconds. While the date time is a combination of both, and you want to record your data in both date and time. So date time too is almost the most accurate to go with character strings. So these character strings, they are divided into 2, ASCII and non-ASCII. So the ASCII, they are just the American standard way of encoding. That is, they are the characters that in the American standard encoding of information interchange on computers. So that is, they are the alphabet, they are the punctuation mark, they are commonly used. But assuming you want to enter your data in the characters that are not included, for instance, you are in the part of the world like Japan, Chinese, Korean, Arabic, and you want to enter your data in using those characters, then that's where the Unicode character strings comes in. So the Unicode is the universal strings, universal character. Mainly for the character strings, they are char, varchar, and text. So the char is mostly used to represent data values that have fixed length, and that will not take much character. Why varchar can take more characters. Okay, so let's say we are dealing with first name, last name, name of city, name of countries. Varchar will be the best to denote that, and text it can accommodate as many number of characters that you specify. Now for these character strings, you have to specify the maximum number of characters that they can take per time. Let's dive into the practical aspect now. So I'm going to open my SQL server now, as you can see. Now here you can still remember the table we created in the earlier video that was talking about creating tables and understanding the basics. So if you've not watched the video, I implore you to go and watch the video so that you can connect the dots together. Okay, so now you can see the table we created earlier on. These are the data types that we have specified. Now for the student ID, we specify the integer. So when we are using the integer, any of the integer, you don't need to specify the maximum number of the maximum numbers that you can take. Just say integer, whether you are using big int, tiny int, small int, or whatever. You just specify that. You don't need to specify the numbers. Now you can see for the first name, now I'm using a varchar as the data type. So, and I need to specify the maximum number of characters that this particular column can take. So it means that I'm specifying 30 here. It means that this column called first name cannot take more than 30 characters. That is, if I have any name that is longer than 30, and if I have any first name that is longer than 30, the database will not, the server will not accept it, because it has already violated the rule that I've set initially. Same goes for my last name. I have it pegged at 30, so I can't go beyond 30. Also for the gender, I have it pegged at 6. I can't go 6. Now the varchar is not actually the best data type for this. A char would have been the best, because like I said earlier on, varchar takes longer characters than char. So char is mostly used when you have a fixed length of character, and in this case I think the gender is fixed, just one character. So this is wrong. Char will be better. Okay, same goes for the age. Age should have been tiny hints, because it's not taking more than 2 figures. So we are going to correct that. Now the class is also, varchar is okay in this case. Let's look at how we can manipulate some stuff with respect to the earlier created table. Now for the area created table, we have the student ID, first name, last name, gender, age, class. Now let's try to insert values that are in different data type compared to what we already established while creating our table. So now for the student ID, I'm having 10B3. Meanwhile, I specified it to be integer. So let's see whether the student ID column will accept this value as a value for the column, because we've already specified earlier on that the student ID should only take integer. This is it. The student ID should only take integer, but now what we are putting there is a combination of integer and an alphabet, which makes it a string, and that is why we are putting it in quotation. So I hope you do that along with me. Now for the first name, James, is still a character, so it still complies with what we said earlier on, and same goes for the last name. Now for the gender was a character, but now we are putting an integer. Also for the age was a character data type, but now we are putting a numeric, an integer. Whereas for the grade for the class, we are still sticking with what we said initially. Now let's see whether this is going to run or not. So as you can see, it said conversion failed when converting the voucher value 1OB3 to data type integer. Yes, so this is what we call data validation. So it's already validating it because the student ID, what we are trying to enter into the student ID column, does not comply with the data type we initially stated when we created the table. So this is what we call data validation. Okay, so another thing we are going to look at is, let's try to violate any of these limits that we have set. Now for the class, we have specified 10 as the maximum number of characters that column can take. Now let's enter a character that is above 10 and let's see whether it's going to accept it or not. So let's say grade 1001 10,005. Let's count it. This 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Now let's enter this and let's see what happens. So you can see, said string or binary data will be truncated in table class truncated value grade 1000. So the statement has been terminated. Why? Because the grade 1000 is more than 10 characters as against what we have specified earlier on while creating our data, our table. So guys, that's all about data types. I hope by now you now have a solid grasp of the different data types and how they are used. If you've gained something valuable from this video, I want you to hit the subscribe button, like, and as well share with your loved ones. And don't forget to keep on the notification button so that you can get notified when I upload the next video. Bye.